got the doctor in front of your name.
So I love how invested you are in your family and even being a father figure to your children, your nieces and nephews. That's amazing and very commendable. And I kind of want to segue into talking about a tremendous loss that you experienced about a year and a half ago. If you can kind of like walk us through that moment when you found out and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I actually thought that it was my son calling me, but it was his girlfriend calling me from his phone because we had been estranged because being dealing with addiction, comes with a certain behavior.
Yeah.
And so that had me at a distance with him for a while. And it was his girlfriend, she was crying, saying that he had OD'd and he was on his way to the hospital. So I'm calling my sister and trying to get a flight from Dallas to Birmingham. They had a flight leaving within the hour, and I was packing a backpack. I was on my way. Before I got out, got my backpack packed real good. The phone rang again, and it was this girl. It was my son's sister, and they were in the car crying. And I knew right then. They said that he didn't make it.
Mm,
And it was crazy because I had to call all of my kids in a calm voice,
yeah.
let them know what had happened. Uh, my niece and my mom had already made it to the ER. I had called them. They had made it to the ER. And I had to tell my mother, who was outside in the waiting room in the ER. I had to call my mom. I had to call my niece to let them know that he didn't make it. I had to call my daughters to let them know, and I had to call my son and tell him to calmly drive home, meet me at the house. I was on my way, and I said, I didn't say the word die, I just said he didn't make it. Do you understand? I need you to be calm, and I need you to make it home safe. I had to give specific directions. I had to lead, because there was a family crisis. So I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't get an opportunity to feel and to grieve that day, because
Yeah.
I had to lead. I had to get my family together and get them under one roof and get everybody calm. And I remember the flight. I remember the man that was sitting behind me talking, showing me pictures of his family and stuff. I never told him what I was dealing with, but I think that was God's way of keeping my mind occupied,
Okay.
until I got home, because I knew once I got off that plane, I knew that it was going to be like a hurricane
Yeah.
of phone calls and text messages and people panicking and crying. It was a bad time.
Absolutely.
And
And
I made it home, and I just went step by step, day by day. We had to plan everything, to plan his homegoing service. It was a lot of stuff that I had to deal with.
in that moment when you found out, did it feel real or like what when I hear these accounts, and even in my own experience, the first day never felt real. It was like the day after.
Oh, it definitely felt real,
Okay.
because I was kind of prepared for it, because I knew what was out there
Yeah.
versus what he was doing.
Okay.
And I knew I had already lost a niece and a nephew who was also age 32 within a year and a half
Wow.
before he
That's
died.
so young.
And as a matter of fact, my pastor's daughter died at age 32.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that's three people died at the age of 32. So I'm looking around like, oh yeah, this is real. I knew it
Yeah.
was real then. And I was shocked but not surprised, but then I was surprised and not shocked.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
almost could never be ready, but you knew it was coming.
Mhm.
You felt it was coming. You knew what the risk was. You knew what was out there. And yeah, that happened. I had already sat my kids down a year before it happened, told them that this might be coming, to prepare themselves.
Mm. So your
Because
family was prepared.
my kids
Yeah.
was, I don't know how prepared they was, but that was a conversation that we had. I told them that it was coming.
Okay.
And people, church folks said, putting words out there, I just feel like if you walking across the street, eventually you're going to get hit by a car if you don't stop walking across the street.
Mm.
You know, it- you know, um, I just had to pray for him, ask God to cover him, ask God to protect him.
Absolutely.
And I did everything I could as a father to save his life. I've been dealing with that for 11 years. And I had got in a space where it got really, really bad. And I just had to protect my own peace.
Absolutely.
And I had to distance myself. And like my grandma used to say, you have to turn them over to the hands of the Lord. Now that's what older people in the South said, would say back in the day. And everything was just lining up for him to go, by everything what was happening. So yeah, that was a rough time. It felt real. One time after everybody had left and you in the house by yourself, you was able to feel it a little bit, but that 1 year anniversary was when I really felt it. That 1 year, that 1 year anniversary, I really felt it. And that was probably the worst time when I sat in here and just cried and was just depressed. No, I wasn't even here. I felt it. I felt it coming. So I went to Florida. I found a little place in Florida, and I just wanted to stay in Florida for the first few months of that year. I didn't want to be in my house. And that was probably the worst time of my whole life.
Okay. But I also feel like it's healthy that you were able to recognize, like, okay, I feel this coming along. Let me take myself out of this house and go somewhere else and give myself the space to grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a terrible time. And then a lot of stuff is just a perspective, man. When you start thinking about all the other people that have lost kids at age 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I met a couple in New Orleans that lost their 2-year-old son that drowned. You know what I'm saying? You mean people that have lost 2 kids. Met a lady in Nashville that lost a husband and a kid. And my book signings have become really, really heavy because it's packed with people that have kids that was either murdered or died and you have to take extra time, an extra few seconds to hug and love on those people because these are women and I'm a man. I'm a man feeling all this. I just can't imagine you carrying a child for 9 months and had to bury them also, especially the ones that had daughters that died.
Yeah.
I had a lady, I performed in DC and I was talking about my book and she came up to me and she hugged me. She said, I lost my only daughter. And that almost wiped me out. And that's some of the things that keep me doing what I'm doing right now, because it's not just about you, it's bigger than you. You got to think about other people and use that book as a tool to help other people properly grieve, because a lot of people won't talk about their kids' death. And them coming to my book signing and getting their book signed and taking a picture, that's the first time, the beginning for a lot of them to open up and talk about how they feel and their struggles and, their grief.
Yeah.
You got the doctor in front of your name.